My name is Paul Mupira. I work for the National Museums and Monuments of Zimbabwe. We are at Nyadzonya, which is one of the rear camps that were established in Mozambique from 1975 onwards, when ZANU shifted from Zambia to Mozambique. The rear bases that were established in Mozambique were closer to the eastern parts of the country, and therefore the liberation movement could infiltrate into Zimbabwe or into Rhodesia much easier than from the Zambian bases. So Nyadzonya was initially established as a refugee camp where people who were escaping the war from the front in Zimbabwe assembled and were staying. But there was also a small component of the military part of ZANU, where training of cadres was taking place. But essentially, it was a refugee camp. So when we are looking at populations that were staying here, I think the largest majority were refugees. So the camp was sold out by one of the former guerrillas, Morrison Nyati. So the Rhodesians started looking for it, but they couldn't locate it easily because it was deep in the bush and was camouflaged. But on one of the reconnaissance missions, one of the pilots spotted the camp and confirmed Morrison Nyati's report that there was a large ZANU camp near the Nyadzonya River in Mozambique. So the camp was subsequently attacked in August 1976, and it was attacked during the morning when people were attending parade somewhere around this spot that we are standing on. And therefore, when that happened, there was quite a lot of confusion because many people were not prepared. And there was an air attack as well as a ground attack. The ground attack was disguised as Frelimo forces, and therefore when the official checkpoints towards this place realized that there were military trucks with what they thought were Mozambican forces, they never bothered to send an alert to say that the camp was under attack. It was only when the enemy started shooting at people that were at parade that they realized that it was a disguise. And therefore, because of that unpreparedness, quite a lot of people lost their lives. It is estimated that 1,300 people died. And when you compare the numbers with Chimoyo, I think here it was more because they were defenseless civilians. So the attack caused quite a lot of international outcry because the UN, for example, knew that there were some refugees that were staying here because they were also assisting the freedom fighters to look after the refugees that were running away from the war in Zimbabwe. So that is what transpired here. When we were doing the exhumations, I think we could confirm that the largest population was of children. We could also confirm the timing of the attack because most of the children were holding their spoons, some of them hidden. That was these items were found in the mass graves that were exhumed and relocated here.
Okay, so you talked about exhumations and reburials, of course. If you can take us through some of the processes that have been done here to ensure that this becomes the monument it deserves to be.
Well, as you know, when we attained our independence, there was a program to actually rebury these victims in a more decent way. Then I think the thinking was that we should build shrines within Mozambique to commemorate the events that took place during the Liberation War. So, but here at Nyadzonya, as was at the other sites that were bombed. There were several bases within the settlement. So the mass graves were spread over those bases, but it was thought that it was difficult to manage, and therefore the decision was made to relocate the scattered mass graves into a central place. So where we are standing here is the central place that was chosen, and the mass graves that you see, the 4 mass graves that you see here, are a result of the exhumations that took place around the Nyadzonya site. So apart from the mass grave